the post-pandemic world order. And there's a lot to discuss there. But first, I would like to invite Mr. YASUHIDE Nakayama, State Minister of Defense of Japan, to open the session all the way from Tokyo.
He is Japan's State Minister of Defense and has previously served as the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs. Please welcome our keynote speaker for this session, Yasuhide Nakayama.
So COVID-19 changed everything, everything. This is COVID-19. But please, I let you remind, 100 years ago, we had the Spain flu. This is United States, state of Kansas, military base, hospital at that time. This is Japanese student. They are waiting bus for school, for go to school. They are wearing masks. Even the baseball players wearing masks. And they are enjoying playing. First, China. It's a very big issue. This is a document that you can see. The green and red. Green is the Japanese self-defense force budget. The red, Chinese PLA military budget. 1988. 2015. Now, green is the Japan budget, red is the Chinese budget. So they have a military budget 4 times bigger than Japan. If Chinese submarine launch missile from South China Sea, you can see lots of man-made islands around here, made by China. But they launch missile once. They can shoot down the White House on east coast of the United States soil. Means this whole area can covered by the Chinese missile. So I live in Japan. I'm very much worried about this missile. So using power, military power, to change the situation is not healthy. It's very, very unhealthy. Here is India, this is Japan, this is China, Russia, and this is free, open Indo-Pacific. Very important geopolitically, because all the package oil from Middle East through this region and coming up to Japan or to the Pacific Ocean. Free, open Indo-Pacific is very key point of peace and stable of world politics and world order. So how to hedge the risk of the war, World War III, is the theme of for the next generation. So today I would like you to think to hedge the risk of the war is to unite and make friends. I hope the world try to understand the situation, what's going on now. So thank you very much, and hope to see you soon next time in India with WION News. So thank you.
Has altered the very nature of global politics, and the country where the pandemic originated has been the key driver of this change, we can say. Life-saving vaccines are now a part of the great power competition the world over. Influence has changed direction. It is now shifting towards Asia. Our global engagements have changed in the past 1 year. While the pandemic opened opportunities for new alliances, it also heightened the sense of American exceptionalism and Chinese revisionism. And above it, it exposed a leadership vacuum. And that's what we will discuss in the next session, our focus is on the post-pandemic world order.
We all have to focus on generating domestic demand and driving sustainable global growth. And we're launching an ambitious new joint partnership that is going to boost vaccine manufacturing.
Multilateralism.
We've taken back control of our laws and our destiny.
Or protectionism. Equality and justice. Or xenophobic isolationism. Economic giants or emerging powers. Complementary policies or confrontational nationalism. What will dominate the post-pandemic world order? Joining us for this session, Ranil Wickremesinghe, former Prime Minister, Sri Lanka. Youssef Chahed, former Chief of Government of Tunisia. Regina Ip Lau Suki, member of the Legislative Council of Hong Kong. Michael Tsai, former Defense Minister of Taiwan. Ahmed Nassim, Minister of Health of the Maldives. Moderating this session is Palki Sharma Upadhyay, Executive Editor of WION.
Mr. Wickremesinghe, how, according to you, has this pandemic changed the global pecking order?
Well, I think when we met in Dubai last year, none of us discussed what the post-pandemic global order will be. The pandemic was just starting. And I think we are not yet reached the stage where there is a medical solution. We are not even at the turning point. We are still at a pandemic stage. And we will have to stay there until they find a medical solution. In a way, this is the worst economic crisis after World War II. In World War II, European and East Asian economic capacity was destroyed. In this instance, it's not a question of destroying economic capacity or the financial system. It is that you can't have human contact, which is the basis of all economic activity. Since this pandemic cuts across the technology revolution, the social revolution, post-1989 unipolar world, which has now become a bipolar global order, the Washington Consensus Economics, climate change, and rise of Asia. These are these forces which have driven the rapid transformation of the world in the last 5 decades will now have to see the impact that COVID has made on them. If US and the others have a lesser role to play, the new financial architecture will gradually make its way, not overnight, but it will be the start. But it has also brought out in the open the failure of the Washington-based economics, the leadership, global leadership. Now look at Trump's stand on COVID. It immobilized the whole US. European Union is still dominated by Brexit. And there's today a vaccine war that is taking place. The UN has been immobilized. There's open warfare in the WHO. But on the other hand, China and India have played a positive role, taking leadership not only in our region, but also helping Europe. Though US has had meetings on the COD on how to fight the pandemic, it has still not proved effective in our areas. All we see are Indians and the Chinese vaccines going along. So they have been more successful, and this is actually accelerating the power shift to Asia. Now the question is, while India wants to increase its profiles, it has to depend on accelerating its economic development. The outcome will depend on that, because India, unlike US, China and Japan, hasn't got the economic punch. So the pandemic, in a sense, is hastening the coming of a new global order.
That's a very... Which countries or entities, according to you, are leading this or are set to lead this? In the foreseeable future.
When confronted with death, people will look to who will save them. So the country or the force that will be recognized as having saved the world from the pandemic will gain power. I think recovery will depend on the crisis management and the quick containment of the virus. And here we can see that the response of Asian countries such as China, India, South Korea, Vietnam contrasted frankly with that of Europe and the Americas. The speed and the strength of the recovery will vary across regions. While we'll see China and India will continue to grow in 2021, Europe, Eurozone and the Latin America will lag behind probably. The crisis, it is clear that there was no global, neither country played a global leadership role during the pandemic. This is clear. And I think it is unlikely that the new leadership will come from one country. The US, despite the political change, I think unilateralism will persist for a while due to internal economic issue and reconstruction, and probably US interest to the world will be smaller. And China will probably try to continue to promote its model, especially including how they contain the virus. But it will, and of course China will try to establish leadership by filling the place left by the US, like when the United States withdraw from the WHO. But it must be tough, and I think it will be very challenging for China to provide it.
Too early to tell.